You're looking at one of the leading experts in the field of gamer rage research. I am to gamer rage what Isaac Newton was to physics. I've been deep in the trenches, boots on the ground for years, studying this entertaining phenomena. What makes it so goofy? I really do find it highly entertaining to watch a gamer just go hog wild after a tough match, but I wouldn't want to be around it in person. I'd be terrified. You know, there's all kinds of drills and shit we practice when we're growing up, how to handle natural disasters like a tornado. You like get into a bathtub or something, or maybe that's like the opposite of what you're supposed to do. Maybe I wasn't trained very well on how to handle a tornado. But fire, they teach you to stop, drop, and roll. But we were never trained on how to handle ourselves in the event of a good gamer going bad. It's an apocalypse, and it's a horrifying thought to be around it. But god damn it, watching gamer rage is so enjoyable. Let me show you one of my favorites. This was actually a prolific rager at Call of Duty tournaments.
Win this, gotta win these
fights. You are
come
shit!
On. Come on, watch out, I spawn control. They're gonna push our end. Are we holding C? Alright.
You lost!
Come on!
You lost!
I'm pushing useless.
Come on, guys! Guys, running out! Let's go!
Come on, it's going to be, it's gonna go D. It's gonna be. Yep, once outside control street.
He went full dolphin, and once you do that, there's no coming back. You can see the realization start to set in like, shit, my voice just cracked to the 9th dimension here. I sounded like Alvin and the Chipmunks just possessed my vocal folds. And fuck me, is it timeless. I've seen this clip like 100 times by now, and I've shown this clip a couple of times. I think it is just the quintessential gamer rage moment. A nice, self-contained explosion of gamer energy. He was able to channel years and years of Call of Duty kids screeching and squealing online and blow it up into a single outburst at a tournament. And this isn't the only time he's done this. He's actually pretty well known for raging at Call of Duty LAN events. And for what it's worth, back in like 2012, 2013, Call of Duty LAN events, this was like accepted. Like this is what they encouraged. So if you watch old Call of Duty tournaments, both teams are yelling and screaming at each other back and forth like, "You're fucking trash! Your mother's a whore!" And like, that's how Call of Duty conducted itself. That was part of the scene. So this wasn't even thought of as odd. He was just thought of as the silliest one because his voice would crack so often.
You suck, Garb! I made you, boy! I made you!
There's a door.
His parents made him.
Oh my god! Let's go! Let's go! Best! Blue card! Son! Look who I'm playing with! Are you serious? Dude, I might as well just... Oh my god, give me a drink or something! Holy sh**!
He raged so hard his brain shut down for a moment. He had to reboot the Windows operating system in order to form words again because he was getting so lost in the sauce. I always love when this happens too, and it's really common with gamer rage because it's just such an outpouring of passion all at once that it overloads the human body. So when one of these gamers like stands up real quick, they probably get vertigo from how like whiplash they get up out of their chair. They'll get up, like start screaming and yelling, and then like halfway through their little villain monologue, they'll just forget what they were saying and get lost. Like in this case where it's like, "I might as well," and then takes off his headset, "Just get me a drink or something." And it happens a lot because, again, they're seeing red. Like, they just go full caveman, like Neanderthal style, and just, they just yell and scream and have no idea, like, what's going on. Like, their eyes roll into the back of their skull and just get overcome with rage, like a Sith Lord. It's so fascinating and so entertaining.
You tell the final you're in there, boy, but you're gonna get off!
I will knock you the out.
Crappy, you seriously thought you were better than me? Are you serious?
Oh my god, did you get over something?
Yeah, but I'm going home with money in my pocket. In my pocket!
Now you can see other people are starting to get mad at him. So the gamer rage is beginning to spread like a plague, a miasma across this tournament. I really do love watching gamer rage, but I always do somewhat feel bad for the people that are raging because they're clearly upset, and afterwards I feel like they're always embarrassed because they know how goofy it was. There's never really a time where you rage at a game and it's like justified, where someone on the outside would be like, "Oh, I totally understand. I see why you're upset, and that makes sense. This was a reasonable response to punch a hole in your wall over a video game." Like, no matter what the situation, if you're raging because of a game, it's silly to anyone on the outside looking in. So I always feel like there's a level of shame that comes with it, and I feel bad for them there, but it's hard not to appreciate a good gamer rage moment. But I thought it'd be fun to get a little bit deeper into it, and why gamer rage in particular is so prevalent. Road rage is a real thing, and that's huge. Everyone gets affected by road rage to some degree, and the same can be said about gaming. But why? So I consulted an expert, Dr. K, healthy gamer, and it was an Opera-sponsored stream where him and I decided to have like a really open and honest talk about why gamers rage so much and what to do about it. Where does it come from? What does it look like? And why is it fun to watch? You know, we just got into the weeds of it and really got deep into it. So I'd like to show you some clips from that discussion we had. And thanks to Opera GX for letting us have that discussion. Opera GX recently released a campaign all about gaming-related anger, and even made like a really cool video called Anger Controllers, which I'll link to in the description below, which is why this whole topic came to light between Dr. K and I. Opera GX has been looking into gamer rage and asking how far is too far in the mental health behind gaming-related anger issues. So that was kind of the context surrounding our discussion here, and it's something that I'm very interested in as well, obviously, because I've talked about gamer rage so extensively on the channel. So again, if you want to see the Anger Controllers campaign, I'm going to link all of that in the description below.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to another Healthy Gamer GG stream. I'm here with Moist, Critical, Charlie, and this is a stream that's going to be sponsored by Opera GX. So Opera GX is a browser for gamers by gamers, and they've been kind enough to also sponsor some coaching for people in our community. And Charlie and I are going to talk today just about gamer rage.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite topics, actually. I'm a big indulger of watching gamer rage moments.
Yeah, dude, that's actually
I'm
some of
pretty
my favorite
stoked.
content is actually like React content with you watching gamers rage.
Yeah, but I usually don't get mad. Not since I've been an adult.
Why do you think that is?
Because I'm not good at the games. I feel like if I was better at the games, I'd care more. Chess makes me mad, actually. And that's because I was pretty decent at chess, so losing felt worse.
But it's interesting. I've done a lot of like I've helped a lot of gamers, even like pro gamers, with gamer rage a fair amount because you know they're competing professionally, so they can't afford to get upset in terms of their performance.
That makes sense. Okay, so you're pretty well versed then. You've seen it like in a professional practice, in a professional setting, not just like goofy compilation
But
moments.
oddly enough, I think that like you know it's different because I've sort of seen it, but I haven't seen the quintessential, or not too much recently. I haven't seen the quintessential, you know, like nerd who's just getting really, really bent out of shape over like some small thing. Like I sort of see it. But
Yeah.
even when I play games now, I'll be supportive. So I'll be like emotionally supportive for my teammates, like when I play Dota, and it works really well.
Do you think kindness usually offsets it? Like if someone's having a bad day and you're nice, do you think it helps them? Because I've always found the opposite. If you're nice to someone toxic in League, they hate you for it. They get real mad.
Oddly enough, I think there's a way to do it. So if you try to be nice, like if you tell them to calm down, that doesn't work. It sounds like it didn't work well for you, or?
No, not at all. Not even a little bit.
Yeah, so usually so here's like one tip that I found works really well is, so when I usually play support, and so I usually lane with like the Dota equivalent of the ADC. And when my ADC is feeding, I'll usually ask them like a couple of questions or let them know what I'm doing. This is the kind of thing where like I'll ask my carry, my ADC, I'll ask them like, hey, do you want me to stack the jungle so you can farm, like we're losing this lane. So what do you want me to do? Do you want me to ferry out more regen and we're going to try to last hit? Or do you want me to stack the jungle? And so oddly enough, I found that like a couple minutes in, if we're losing, if I sort of like give them a little bit of control in terms of like, you know, picking something, it's almost like it's the same technique that I use with my, 2-year-old when I ask her, do you want to put on your shoes first or do you want to brush your teeth first? And if you give him a choice, it like seems to work pretty well.
That makes sense. That's pretty smart.
And I'm surprised by how well it works. Like it's really strange because a lot of people will talk about, if you want to climb MMR in a game, like the best way to prevent yourself from raging is to mute all your teammates. So they'll say, like, from a mindset perspective, you should just mute all your teammates and just like play your own game. But it's a team game. So sometimes I think that you're sort of shooting yourself in the foot.
I was gonna say, do you think like I say team games are the main source of gamer rage? I feel like I see it a lot more. Like Call of Duty tournaments, you have people like screaming so loud their voice starts cracking and going like full dolphin. I feel like a lot of gamer rage comes from feeling like it was out of your control. Do you think that's probably like a safe assumption? Because, you know, getting mad in League, it's like, damn, I could have won this if only top lane wasn't dog shit kind of thing.
Exactly.
So then they just
I
get
think
real
I think
mad.
even the way that you described it was really important, because it's the fact that like I should have won this, except for ... So I'm being given a result that is unfair. I don't deserve this because I played well, but someone else did not do what they were supposed to do, or it's the luck of the draw. So the problem with gamer rage is that when you blame circumstances outside of your control, when you don't adopt the Sigma grind set, what happens is you actually reinforce losing games. Because if I lose my lane and then I blame the jungler, then I'm not going to learn the mistakes from like the laning phase. And it means that I'm going to lose the game again, and I'm going to lose my next game. And then the more I blame the junglers, the more I start to believe all junglers are crap.
I also think it's healthy might not be the right word. So for someone like me, I'm always looking for scapegoats, right? Like it's never my fault I lose a game that's team based. So I feel like a lot of it can be conquered if you just convince yourself, like strongly enough, that you did amazing and everyone else did bad, but that's okay, right? Just come to terms. Like you can blame other people as long as you just accept at the end of the day, maybe they're just not as good as you, right? How do you feel about that? Do you think that could help curve the rage aspect and just maybe like placate it a bit?
That's so let's just think through that for a second.
Unhealthy.
So the first is there's an ego response for sure to blame others instead of yourself. And so it's kind of interesting because usually that ego response is toxic. I think what you're doing is doubling down on the ego response, but in a non-toxic way. Does that make sense? Because it's like, oh yeah, like I'm so great. Like I just can't I can't expect these crappy noobs on my team. Like who like it's also super egotistical. But I think it'll curb.
But I'm not
You
raging.
won't rage, right? So it's sort of like the lesser humans. You can't blame the lesser humans for being bad at Dota or LoL.
Yeah, it's kind of fucked up. If you're hard stuck bronze, don't use my technique. You don't deserve it. Hard stuck bronze. That's
you know what gamer
disgusting.
rage is actually appropriate. This has been wild. So there's a guy who's basically the equivalent of bronze in Dota, who buys a challenger level account. So he's an account buyer. So he buys he's like, so the MMR in Dota goes from like, let's say 1 to like 11K. So 0 to 11K. So he's like a sub 1,000 MMR player. So he's like in the bottom like 5% or 2% of Dota players. Except he buys this account that's like a top 30 immortal account, which is like a challenger level account. And then he just like chain feeds in these games. And boy, do people, he like just ruins games. Like it's like, if you get him on your team, there's just nothing you can do. But I still can't tell if he's doing it to troll or he thinks he deserves to be there or like what's going on. But then people understandably get really, really upset. Like it's bad enough having a Smurf in your game. But if he's trolling, I think that makes sense.
Yeah, so I looked him up. So he's well known in the community. Leopold, the account buyer, is back GigaChad, and anytime they talk about Leopold, they hit him with GigaChad memes. So I guess they look at him as like a joke or something.
I mean, I think it's funny. I guess it's funny for everyone who's not in the game.
True. Yeah, I'd be tight. I'd be upset.
We just wanted to remind everyone this is a sponsored stream. So Opera GX has been kind enough to sponsor some coaching packages for our community. And, you know, they came up with this idea of anger controllers, which are controllers that break apart when you throw them and you can just like put them back together. Those unfortunately aren't real, but anger absolutely is. So Critical and I are going to be talking about this. Oh, yeah, it looks like there's a countdown timer. So interesting. And we're going to be talking about this today. So we're about to talk a little bit about skill ceilings for gamers, which is a fascinating topic. So you were asking, do you think you can, theoretically, can you like be the best if you practice hard enough?
Not even the best. Could someone like me? I would say I was born without that like X factor gene that makes you like really click with like FPS games, for example. But could I go from my current level to at least like almost professional level, or even like the lower end of the pro level spectrum? Or do you think there really is just a cap to what you can learn without that God-given
I think
talent?
you could probably get challenger, I would think, in a game like League. I think that there's a lot, though, when you say, like, if you put in the right kind of effort, where I think a big reason why tier 1 players are tier 1 players is because they put in effort in a lot of different places that tier 2 or tier 3 players don't put in. So that's stuff like communication. And I think it's because there's a lot of other stuff that goes into it. Comms, like people like not butting heads, managing egos on teams, things like that. So especially on a team game, when you're talking about your performance, it's not just your accuracy and things like that. It's like, do you think about the team? Do you know how to communicate well? Are your comms efficient? There's a bunch of stuff. And what I've seen, basically, I've seen the inside of a couple of very successful esports teams, is that it's like night and day, man. Like I've worked with tier 3 teams and I've worked with tier 1 teams. And the difference between the tier 1 and tier 3 team is like, they don't understand some of these basics. So you have to be like good at hitting things. You have to be like good at like strategic thinking. You have to be good at like reflexes, and you have to be good at communication.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But you still don't think that you can reach the top through just hard work. I think you would also agree there has to be a level of like just actual talent like you're born with to get to like the number one.
I feel pretty confident about that. And the simple reason for that is that there are a lot of people, speaking of anger, this is actually a great example. There are a lot of people who are putting in a ton of work and don't get anywhere near there, right? So like, it's interesting because if you talk to gamers, pro players, what they'll say is that the highest level of pubs are oftentimes the most toxic, which is like interesting. Like, I don't know what the reasons for that. I mean, I have a couple of hypotheses, but like, you have any idea about why that would be?
Probably just being comfortable, because in pubs, you're in your own house, might have had a bad day. It's super like volatile. You don't know the circumstances. You hop on, maybe you want like casual games, it gets sweaty, you get stomped, you feel bad, and you just had like a bad day all around. I could definitely see why pubs would always be more toxic, honestly.
Could be more toxic for sure, but specifically the higher up you go in the ranking, and at the top tier of pub games, they're actually very toxic.
Oh, absolutely. I know for a fact why. Everyone at that level thinks they're just a couple steps away from professional. Like, this could be my career. I am right there on the cusp of my dream. So everything that maybe goes wrong in there, they take it much more seriously than someone in silver who knows that they're trash.
So
I definitely see why.
Imagine what your life is like if you're like a tier 3 pub star in a game like League of Legends or Dota. You play just as much as the pros, but you don't go to the tournaments. You don't have a team. You don't have a salary. And like, just how, like, you've devoted your life to playing this game, just like the superstars have. You've sacrificed everything that they've sacrificed. They have a team. They go to tournaments. They compete, but you don't. And it's because that's what it takes. Right?
Yeah, I mean, that sounded like really targeted. Yeah, like if that was me, I'd be mad just hearing that.
That's what it takes to get, like, if you're like a top 100 like pub star, like that's what it takes. Right? You've spent years of your life.
100%.
Because you can't get there. Like, because you got to put in the work. And despite all the work, and you dropped out of college, you've never had a girlfriend or boyfriend, and like, for what? Like, you sacrificed the best years of your life to be a tier 3 pub star. It's rough.
Yeah, that sucks. I'm about to gamer rage right now, honestly, and that's not even me.
So
Shit.
like I think that's I know it's kind of weird, but so the takeaway, the reason we have that is like have compassion, right? Like these people's lives are, like it's tough.
Take for example, like anyone in the top 500 of like Fortnite, for example. Only like 50 of those players play professionally, like actually get paid for it, despite all the top 500 playing just as much. That shit's gotta suck. Oh my
Yeah, it's rough.
god.
Right, because you make all, and that's where I think so. The rage comes from a couple of different places. One is it comes from righteousness, because you've made all the sacrifices that they have, and then when you lose to them, oh my god! Or when they make a mistake in the game, how could this guy be so bad? When you're queuing with pros, and you don't do your job in lane, and y'all end up getting crushed, and then at the end of the game, your carry is like 0-4. It's so easy to rage at them. It all comes out. You can play League for, like, people have been playing League for like a decade, right? So I think you've been playing. So it's like the thing that you can always go back to. There's also some interesting research that shows that the addictiveness of video games is not actually due to the rewards, but the denial of reward. So you play chess, right?
Yeah.
How much do you enjoy playing chess against 2-year-olds?
All right, that's a bad question to ask me. So we'll use Pokemon. I see what you're saying. So like Pokemon Unite, to me, the most fun was that when the game came out, you could pay to get some bonuses, which would take other players a lot longer. So I swiped to get some bonuses just to make sure other kids in the game had no fun. Okay. So I see what your point is. And if I was to play chess against a 2-year-old, I would fucking stomp them. And I'd feel great.
So this is interesting. So we're talking about the addictive nature of it. So the question is, how likely are you to continue doing that? So you may do it for a little bit of the lulls, but how, like, are you going to play, like, is your game of choice to smash 2-year-olds in chess?
No, it'd probably just be like a part-time thing. I think just being the chess boogeyman at the elementary school. Yeah.
Right. But so this is where, like, basically because what we know is that if things are too easy, it's boring. If things are too hard, we give up.
Yeah.
And if you really want to engage people, you have to, like, you gotta make them rage. You gotta give them that thing that was like, it was right there. I could have won. But something happened and it fell apart. The interesting thing is that when that game happens and things fall apart, you get super pissed off. But the next time you play, things go in your favor, or you make a comeback or something like that. So it's the game that gives you the reward and denies you the reward. When you have both denial of reward and, like, achievement, those are the games that are most addictive. And if you played, like, From Software games, that's why they're so satisfying, right? It's like you're punishing yourself, and then you win, and then you're like, hell yeah, it feels so good. So it's actually From Software's, like, ability to deny you a reward that actually gets things positive.
That's interesting. I never thought about it in that context.
Yeah, because I think the key thing about Opera GX is that it is, like, sort of a browser that's designed for gamers. I actually installed it recently. It's pretty good. So I highly recommend you all check it out.
I've also been using Opera GX for about a year now. I don't use anything else now. Yeah. I still have, like, a Chrome tab that runs just because I never remember the password to the account I'm logged in on, but that's the only reason. Opera GX is just straight up better.
Why do you like it?
It's just so much more convenient. Like, I can pretty much do everything from the browser. Like, if I need to do, like, Facebook Messenger, which is how I talk to Jackson, I can just actually do it from the computer instead of needing to switch. And it doesn't take nearly as many resources, so I don't actually just tank my entire computer to run the internet like I do with Chrome, or like I used to do with Chrome.
Yeah, so people in...
Yeah, it's straight up just a better browser.
We're getting two things in chat. One thing that we're getting is #ad, which, yeah, this is a sponsored stream. But other people are like, actually, Opera GX is really good.
It is. Most people that try it usually don't go back. I just genuinely think it's the better browser out there.
Yeah, I mean, people are saying, so Easy Times PZ is saying Opera GX is actually sick. Super Idolatry is also saying OGX is actually not bad. And then Goff Golden is saying I've been using Opera GX for 3 years now, and it's just better than anything else. Okay, so I'll try it. Yeah.
I would recommend it as well.